And now to give you a warm student welcome is Ramzi Kaiss, a member of the class of 2017 and president of the college's Student Government Association.
Hello, class of 2020. It's my absolute pleasure today to be able to welcome you here to Con. My name is Ramzi Kaiss, and this year I'll be serving as the president of your student government. Today I'll tell you a little bit about the beautiful things coming your way in the next 4 years, and we'll share exactly 3 pieces of advice with you that you may choose to follow or disregard. Though personally, I think that you might benefit from this advice, because hindsight, like this class, is also 2020. Now, I've got to admit, today must have been pretty weird for many of you. I can even tell that everyone's taking it all a little bit differently. Some of you are feeling more stressed, others less so. See, not too long ago, 3 years to be exact, I was in your position. I sat right up there on the front left side of Palmer Auditorium on what was my first day at Connecticut College. Since then, 3 years have passed, and quite frankly, I don't know where they went, and then how I'm up here now talking to you on what is my first days of my senior year, which is, I've got to say, a little bit weird and very terrifying. But looking at all of you now, I can kind of relate with your being in a new environment. See, though I was terribly nervous on my first day of college, my transition into Con was a very exciting one. I was 17 then, 3 years younger, and had actually just left my hometown of Beirut, Lebanon, a small, beautiful city by the Mediterranean Sea. And on a whim, I guess, I decided to fly over the Atlantic Ocean and cross the pond to spend my next 4 years here. And to be honest, though, I had never visited the college campus before, and I've never been to this country prior to orientation. So as you can imagine, I was just a little bit nervous, more than many of you. And shout out to all the international kids who came from thousands of miles away. Welcome to Con. So when people ask me why I was traveling all the way to go to the US, to go to Connecticut College, my simple and honest reply was, I saw some pictures of it online and it looks beautiful. It sure was a relief when driving on campus. I found out that the beauty of the college was not only contained in its landscape and looks, but it was overflowing everywhere. Like some of you in the audience tonight, my journey from home to orientation was a long one. I took a plane, and then a bus, and then a train, and then a good old cab ride from downtown New London. Though I was tired from the 17 hours of traveling, I was pumped about starting my 4 years at Connecticut College. I remember when the cab first pulled in on campus, and boy, did the place look pretty, just like this morning. As soon as I got here, I knew I wanted to meet and get to know everyone that I saw around campus. I was a little excited to know what America's all about, so I decided to introduce myself to everyone, just trying to get to know the locals, so to speak. And I particularly remember one interaction that I had in my first few days that changed my understanding of how human beings from different backgrounds can thrive through differences, not in spite of them. See, after sitting in this exact assembly, I left Palmer Auditorium thrilled from what I had heard the president of the student government and the president of the college back then say about the school. This was a place for opportunities, and I wanted to make the most of it. And the first step, I thought, was to make some friends. So after spending some time outside in the auditorium and the reception, I thought I'd introduce myself to some people. I looked around and I saw 2 students from my class hitting it off, engaging with each other. So I thought, perfect. Looks like a good crew. I'm gonna go up there, introduce myself, see how things go. Now I start to make my way towards these guys. I try to play it cool, of course, so I pretend like I was getting lemonade from the refreshment section. Didn't want to blow up my spot. And so I get my lemonade and I started walking towards them, and then I overhear some of their conversation. And to my utter disappointment, they are talking about something I have no clue about: American football. Now, mind you, I was a kid from Lebanon whose only understanding of football was as a sport that you actually played with your foot. So I gotta be honest, I was a little thrown off and confused. I thought to myself, damn, I might not have anything in common with these guys. It was almost like I built an immediate wall between myself and the rest of the community. After all, I had grown up in a different country, spoke a different language, interacted in a world with a sense of normalcy that is different than this one. So instead of walking up to those guys and introducing myself, I shied away out of fear of exposing myself as an outsider. Looking back, I wish I had known that the wall I had built for myself was nothing but an illusion. Because over the next couple of days of orientation, I got to meet fellow students from all over the country and the world. And what I had discovered was that most people were different, that most people thought of themselves as outsiders to a certain degree, and everyone was just trying to fit in. In the first 2 days of Con, I found out what is most beautiful about this institution. I found out that here, our differences make us camels, and that they are why we continue to grow and grow, why we are willing to question our preconceived notions, to challenge our beliefs, and to always be willing to learn day after day. So in your first weeks on campus, I urge you to be a little more curious, a little more brave, and way more open about what makes you different. Spend time getting to know people who are different than you and who you feel different around. Bond over what you don't have in common, because it is only by doing so that you'll come to see how similar many of you are. That's advice number 1. As for me, I didn't actually go back and confront our good friends from the football story about my lack of their religion of football. I did get to find out a little bit more about the sport, though. In fact, just this past February, this Lebanese boy was in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, watching the New England Patriots give the Buffalo Bills a sweet beating. # Team Brady. And I also got to find out more about the United States, visiting 22 states on a cross-country trip with my best friend, Robert James Jones, this past spring break. And it was beautiful. Now, the thing about being in your position, what I remember so clearly about being a new student was being told repetitively that I was about to embark on the best 4 years of my life. And yet, I had no clue what that meant. All I remember was feeling really nervous, somewhat terrified. I remember thinking to myself, what exactly is going to be so great about these 4 years? Looking back now, I recognize that there are a lot of things that go into making college a life-changing experience. And this institution taught me that to make the best use of your time, you have to put yourself out there, question everything that you believe in, and be ready for the awareness that is about to come. What's so wonderful about this place is that the opportunities are endless, from continuous career training workshops that begin from orientation, usually culminate in an internship funded by the school the summer before your senior year, to getting the chance to study abroad in a country where you've never been to and don't even speak the language of. Make use of these resources. And here, my friends, is my second piece of advice. Get involved with something that you think you're really bad at or really afraid of. As someone who's never sailed before, I decided that during my first 2 years of Connecticut College, I was going to take a con sailing class on the Thames River. And yes, we actually have a sailing class here. Take it. See, I was so terrified of sailing that the first time I went on a sailboat in class, my boat capsized, I fell into the river, and I dropped my phone and my wallet into the bottom of the Thames, where they shall now lie forever. Now, though this experience left me slightly traumatized and very, very broke, it introduced me to a world I had not been exposed to before. Because just like I did, you will meet people in your class who will show you the ropes and teach you from their experiences. It's only by showing up to a class or a club meeting or an audition or to your group of friends and being like, hey, I'm this person who doesn't know anything about this, but I'm really intrigued by it, that you'll get to meet other people who are willing to lend you a helping hand and help you explore areas you've never even heard about. That terrifying learning experience will leave you more brave than ever. In my case, too brave, that after that failed sailing incident, I got a huge adrenaline rush and decided that I wanted to do something else I was really bad at. Take a guitar lesson and a voice lesson. And now, although my guitar skills got better, my singing voice is still very, very much atrocious. But yet, again, there was someone else on campus who was willing to help by sharing their own expertise. At Con, this environment of sharing and learning is how we thrive. So after you leave this auditorium, find out about what the school has to offer. Maybe take a sailing class, or join student government, or learn an instrument, whatever. I assure you, you won't regret it, and you'll end up gaining something very, very valuable at the end. Now, my final piece of advice for you is this: find a mentor. At the end of the day, what makes this place so remarkable is its people. While the buildings and the landscape and the beautiful natural resources around certainly give this place a welcoming feel, it is the people that make it home. As a philosophy enthusiast and a human rights advocate, I knew that that was going to be my field of study here. Over the years, I've gotten the chance to take several human rights and philosophy courses and to get involved with countless discussions around campus. But what amazed me most during those short years is the responsibility that will be placed on you as a result of the knowledge that you will acquire. You will find out that it doesn't just do to learn about the inequities taking place around the world, but that this privilege of access to knowledge necessitates action and a commitment to your beliefs. You will learn about the many socioeconomic, environmental, racial, and post-colonial problems that continue to shape our world as an uncomfortable one for many, many human beings. But you will also be challenged to question how you yourself could be a perpetuator of these issues and will be given the tools to confront them and find sustainable solutions. You will be empowered by your peers and will empower your colleagues and even your faculty around you. At a time like this, given the political climate in the United States and the world, when it seems like it's so easy to hate and distance other people, your colleagues and professors will dare you to love even harder. Now look around you. And though you may only see faces, you might only see strange faces, these faces will soon start to become familiar. And as you start to get to know your roommates and your other classmates a little bit more, I urge you to get to know everybody in this community just as well, the faculty and the hardworking staff that keeps it running. Explore the campus and the city of New London, and remember my advice. Bond over difference, try things you're bad at, and find a mentor. I'll be around outside after the assembly. Come find me and let's keep the conversation going. Welcome home, Camels. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.